Hello, and welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast with Heather and John, where we help you say yes to all the scary stuff, helping you improve your personal and professional development. Hey, Heather, how's it going?
It's going good, John. I'm feeling much more on this time zone, which is amazing. Jet lag can definitely take you out for a few days. So I am feeling really, really good. Although it's 8 a.m. and it's still dark out. So this is a little strange to see the seasons change. How are you doing today?
Yeah, no, listen, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, there's something about the weather that kind of like throws you off on time. So it's not just you. You're right. I wake up and I'm like, wait a minute, it's still dark. I actually have my lights. I have my house on timers, and I have it set for sunset and sunrise. And I'm like, why is it still light? My lights are still on outside because it's so dark. So
Yeah.
yeah, sunrise is taking a while to come up, and I missed the early morning break through the sky type of light, right? So it's definitely, you can tell we're at the fall and going to winter. It's a different time of year, a time for renewal, but also
It's
a
time
time.
for renewal. I love that. Oh, yes. Tell me more.
Yeah, I was also going to say a time to just take what we're already doing and consistently improve on those. I think that's called something, isn't it?
It is, and before Mongolia, I spent some time in Japan, and oh, there's just so many stories that I can tell you about Japan. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to visit. But there's some, concepts that Japanese have to simplify the things that many of us trip over. And one of those is small incremental improvements. And it's actually called the Kaizen approach. So, me and
Mm.
you, we talk about this all the time is how do you take small incremental changes? And in fact, our entire podcast is developed around this concept, and it has a name for it, so imagine that. And the reason I say that is because every time we do our LinkedIn live shows, which we do 3 times a week, small incremental improvements, and
Mm.
we do a call to action to our audience and for ourselves, because we do these actions as well, that you can accomplish in the next 24 hours. And all of these stacked items of success start to evolve into something bigger than you could even imagine. Like we just passed 100 episodes for our LinkedIn Live and our podcast show, which is such a celebration moment, John. And this approach of the Kaizen model is really, really important because often people that are making changes decide to make 500
Mm.
changes at the same time, and you do tons of coaching to help people shed the weight, shed the mindset, and you see this happen all the time. So what are some of the mistakes that people make, and then what's the actual step that they should be taking, John?
Yeah, no, listen, it's a great point. And, there's a whole bunch of things that are showing up for me. But yes, I'll get into some specifics. But I think about, a big organization called Apple, right? And how they're leveraging this Kaizen approach. And I'll come back to that in a second. But some of the most common mistakes that I see around Kaizen is, or just around any sort of improvement or change, is making them so big that they become so uncomfortable that they scare you, right?
Yeah.
So we get so lost in, some people, I help people in, the with the 30-day shred. We set a goal at the beginning of the shred, and it's like, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds. I'm like, wait. Let's build milestones in so we can get up to that. And how we do that is we set smaller milestones. And I think of the analogy that I used earlier in the year when I did the Ironman. My only goal is to get to the next buoy, right? Like as I was swimming, my goal isn't to go swim the full. Yes, the ultimate goal is to swim the 2 kilometers in the water, but the goal that I need in front of me right now is just to get to the next buoy, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
what do you need to do today. What do you need to do this week? What do you need to do this month?
Yeah.
Right? And some of us were looking so far ahead, or what I've seen with some clients is they're looking so far ahead that they lose sight of, all I need to do today is go for a 30-minute walk. And
That's
it's like,
it.
okay, great. That's all you need to do today. Tomorrow, you might want to add 35 minutes. And the next day, you might want to go for a run. Then the day after that, you might want to go for a bike ride. So just take small steps. Don't go too big, too fast, too far, because what's going to end up happening, and I see this all the time, people get injured and then they're out for 2 or 3 weeks and then they're starting all over again. It's a horrible way. So one of the ways to break it down is make it small, right? Like put it into
Small.
your calendar a little bit every day. So it doesn't matter if you're if you're working on a health goal, if you're working on a financial goal, if you're working on a career goal. Small steps, what do I need to do
Yes.
today, right?
Yeah.
And if sorry, go ahead.
No, and this is a mistake that people make all the time. I just got back from this amazing trip with amazing entrepreneurs. These are highly, highly successful people running million-dollar businesses. And even they were creating these action plans for when they were going to get home that overwhelmed me just thinking about what they put on paper. And so we actually funneled it down to say, but what's that one thing that's going to happen that is a non-negotiable? And I love that word non-negotiable because it really
Yeah.
indicates that there's no decision to be made. You've made the decision already, and now you're just activating the decision that's been made. And so non-negotiables is your past self deciding for your future self what's best for them. And I
Yeah.
love that concept because now your future self has one less decision to make. They're just going to do it. And this morning I got up, I did a 5-minute meditation. I was doing up to 30-minute meditations in the summertime, and I got out of sync and I didn't put it in my calendar and I didn't do those small incremental changes. So I didn't go back to 30 minutes today. I said, you know what? I'm going to commit to 5. And after 5, I felt a little restless and I wanted more. So tomorrow I'll do 10. So,
Yeah.
and I could have done 10 this morning, but I said the commitment was for 5, and I'm going to stick with that one small incremental improvement because that I can commit to every single day. If I went to 30, I'm not sure I'd be ready for that just yet.
Yeah. No, listen, I love that. I love that you just small bits, right? Small bits improve every day on those small bits. Even, and I think we did it this year with your push-up challenge, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
started with one push-up and then 1.5 push, like you slowly got up to, I think, 15 or 20 or
50.
25 push-ups. So, it's really around building it up slowly. But the thing is, you can still do it within 30 days,
That's
right?
right.
So I think we underestimate what's possible in 30 days, right? Because we want to just go all in and we just want to just be on fire and we just want to go. But one of the things you definitely, and actually, this comes back to a quote that I learned on Monday, and I want to share this with everybody because it really teaches us about, when it comes to building things, let go of the how, right? So, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice.
Ooh, say that
And
again.
yeah, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice, right? So a lot of
Mm,
times it's better not to know how to get somewhere, right? And I believe I've shared this with everybody, but if I knew what was involved in an Ironman training schedule, I would have said, hell no. Like there's no way. It's just thinking about what I was gonna do is just crazy. But I didn't go that route. I signed up, and then I determined, I determined what I needed to do next, and putting a
mm-hmm.
schedule together and just following it slowly. And you talk I love the word that you used. You fell out of sync, right?
Mm,
So there are moments that we're gonna fall out of sync, and it's okay to
mm.
fall out of sync. Like that just happens. Life happens. Things come into our lives. We get sick. Whatever that is, we fall out of sync. But you want to get back into sync as quickly as possible and go back to the
100%.
basics, right? Like you
Yeah.
think about the greatest players in the world, right? You think of Jordan, you think of the Kobe's, you think of the F1 guys, Lewis Hamilton. Like all they do is they work on the basics and improve the basics every day.
Yeah.
Right? The greatest athletes, the greatest performers in the world don't go big and they don't think about I'm going to win a championship. They're like, okay, let's work on the fundamentals, let's work on the basics, and let's improve the basics every day. I think Kobe, he would do 500 free throws every day. And I think Michael Jordan was the same. They would do 1,000 or 500 or 1,000 free throws every day. And these guys were the masters at their game, but they kept working on the basics and slowly incrementing and improving the basics every day because we want
And
to
I
get
think
ready for the advanced stuff because that's the fun stuff, right?
Well, and I think people misunderstand what success looks like. They think it's the end goal, the championships, the trophies, and that's just a moment in time that is the result of all of those actions taken, all of those decisions made. And we use this falling out of sync as a mental block for many people, and we use it as an excuse. We fall out of sync, and it immediately can activate in our brains, you're not good enough. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Here's more proof that it can't be done. And we both know that that is a limiting belief that will stop you in our tracks. We call them automatic negative thoughts, those ants in our head get in there. And what if that's not true? What if the actual truth is you just fell out of sync? And that means that you just need to take one small action, which is to get back into sync and start again. And don't wait till the first of the month or January to start. We know that the New Year's resolutions process does not work. And it doesn't work because people go big. They want to announce to the world, I'm going to do this massive thing. And then by February, they're not out of sync. They're off their rocker is what they are.
They're not even on the wagon anymore. They're completely on a different track. It's funny. We talked about this on Friday with Gunjan, and he said, one of the things he does, he sets his goals up now, right? So October, November is when he starts to set up his goals. And why he does that, there's two reasons. Number one, you have more time, in order to create your goals and set them up. And so instead of 12 months, you have 14. And the other piece was, and I really like this, you have 2 months of grace, right? So there's 2 months where if nothing happens, you still got 12 months to go get it done. So, setting up your goals and this is the time to do it, right? So as we go into November, which is next week already, wow, I can't believe that we're already here. But as we go into next week, you want to start thinking about what does 2024 look like? Doesn't mean 2023 is over yet, right? 2023 is not over. That means you still have, I think at this point, 8.5 weeks until the end of the year to do whatever it is you need to do for yourself. But now is the time to start planning for next, right? Plan through the goal. That's one of the things that we talk about on this episode, on the series, is think through the goal. So what does 2024 look like? What are some of the things you want to continue doing, or what do you want to let go of? Because I think this is important.
Let go of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What do you want to let go of? What do you need to release? What do you need to say no to? As Christina said in her speech, you got to say no in order to say yes.
Yes.
And how do you continue to move forward with that? So, this is the time to think about, okay, what do I need to improve today to get myself to the end of 2023? But what do I really want to put into place in 2024? What kind of Kaizen do I want to do?
And don't focus on the how. This is not, people get mistaken that goal setting is, I need to know how. What if you just put a goal out there that by the end of the year, you'll be celebrating what? And I love that concept of, will you be celebrating, or what will we be drinking champagne for at the end of the year to celebrate you? And, we do Celebration Fridays every single week. We're consistently doing that. And why are we doing that? Because we want to activate the brain to look for all the good things that happened that week, because that is not a natural state. Well, what if you also did the same thing for your entire year? And, John, me and you are actually meeting later today to do that process together. So another great, life hack is, why set your life goals by yourself? Hire a coach, reach out to a mentor, talk to someone about them, because the more you vocalize what it is that you want, the more your brain will create images of what that could look like. And when your brain creates images of what it could look like, it actually thinks it's already done, because our brain thinks in pictures. It doesn't think in words. And so it's creating this visualization of it already happening. And when your brain has already fast forwarded into the future, then the how will start to emerge. It'll start to show up for you. So this concept of the Kaizen approach, this small incremental improvements, is not just a way to achieve more in life. It really is to get rid of your limiting beliefs, to improve productivity, to eliminate procrastination, and a way to goal set. It's a 1-2 punch for success. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it definitely helps you build on resilience too, right? If you can take what you're doing today and just improve on it a little bit every day, it's going to help build your resilience. It's going to help build your mindset. It's going to strengthen your mindset around what is possible for you, right? Like, all you need to do is improve by, they say, I forget where I heard it, but improving by 1% every day. That's it, 1%. Like, it seems like nothing in the moment, but at the end of 100 days, it's going to be more than 100% because it compounds, right?
That's right.
So you really want to think about, like, where do you want to be? Like, how do you want to live? How, if you're not living the way you, especially right now, right? because I see this, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's stress, there's a variety of different feelings out there generally just when I'm having conversation with people, and they're great at just highlighting about how everything is horrible. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what's good? What's happening in your life that you're really liking right now? There's nothing. Interest rates are crazy. It's just not. Look, this is horrible. But part of it is getting into the habit. Even if you get into the small, if you do Kaizen on Celebration Fridays with us, right? All you need to do is improve your celebrations every week. By the end of the year, you're going to have a completely different year. And the way
And a
you're
different way to see the
yeah, in a
world.
different yeah.
You will actually avoid, like the plague, bad news. You will eliminate people from your life that are always on that hamster wheel
Mhm.
of negativity, and you'll start to attract people in your life that are looking to solve problems that are bigger than themselves. And that is pretty phenomenal. I'm often in rooms with entrepreneurs or big people, big thinkers that
Mhm.
are thinking about ways to solve crises in the world. So it doesn't mean that to pretend it's not happening. That's not what we're saying.
100%.
What we're saying is, how can you be the solution for these things and see the world through the eyes of finding those solutions and being part of the solution? I was in Tokyo, John, and let me tell you, Tokyo is a magical, magical place. 37 million people, not one piece of garbage on the ground. How is this
Wow.
possible? How is this possible? And it's possible because a community decided to do the right thing for the community. And so if you're feeling lonely right now, if you're feeling like, setting these goals is really hard, just, getting through the motions every single day is really hard, then ask yourself, who's in my community? Who is someone that I can reach out to in the next 24 hours to tell them what it is that I want to accomplish by the end of next year, or maybe even by the end of this week? Maybe it's just we're getting
Yeah.
through day by day, and that's okay too. And reach out to that person. If it's a coach that you need, we are both coaches, but we also have lots of coaches, and getting a coach is a very personalized experience. We love our audience, John. They tune in 3 times a week with us. We hear these amazing stories of people taking those small incremental actions, that Kaizen approach, and how it has evolved and changed their life. But I love your call to action for everyone, which is, just join us on Fridays and celebrate with us.
Mhm.
Celebrate the wins for the week. That one change, if you did that one change every single week, you'll have 52 celebration moments, stacking them up one by one. And your brain, then what the coolest part is, your brain then will look for everything
Yeah.
that's good in the week, not everything that's bad. So this is a fantastic, fantastic approach. And now I can't wait for Friday, because I
Yeah.
got so much to celebrate already.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm with you. And, I've even heard from people after doing Celebration Fridays. We've been doing it all year. We've been doing it since day one, I think, when we started doing the podcast. And, some of the feedback that I've received is even after 1 month, right? Doing 4 Celebration Fridays in a row, it really starts to shift your perspective. And they're like, I start to see things and I like start to look for wins. And when I get into Monday, I think about what do I want to celebrate and win this week, right? So it is a different approach. It's different, but it really does shift your lens, right? Like if you think about the lens that you have on the world, you are going to see and you're going to find all the good,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I love that. And when people get back to me and they're like, "Oh, I love Celebration Fridays," some of them have started doing it with their own families, with their own teams, and they really do see things differently. Like that is the core. That's going to be one of the chapters in our book, right? Like how do you shift your lens? Celebration Fridays, right? It's something so basic and so easy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we got the call to action. So the call to action: join us on Friday for Celebration Fridays. Be a part of that. So Heather, is there any final parting words as we start to wrap up this episode that you want to leave with people?
you know, don't leave this episode without writing down one small
Mhm.
thing that you're going to do. One small thing that you're going to do, even just commit to it once. This podcast, this LinkedIn live show was created because we committed to 5 episodes, and we're now at 100 episodes. So, don't worry about the long-term goal. Think about the short-term goal, which is
Sure.
what can you do in the next 24 hours? So, what is that one thing? Write it down, tell one person, and just take action. The Kaizen approach, I love it. We are going to be the most productive, goal-setted, time management, happy, and creative people in the planet. Let's do it together.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to offer up to people. Let us know. Send us a message. And just let us know that one thing that you're going to be working on. I would love to hear it. Listen, I'm always a big fan. I know both of us are when it comes to just hearing feedback from people. So let us know. Send us a message. You don't have to do it publicly, but just send us a message. Let us know what that one thing is for you. All right, everybody. That wraps up this episode of the Say Yes Movement podcast. Thank you for joining in. And remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Wishing you all a great one. Talk to you soon.